Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a really specific source, Barya Muriatica from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
That's right, barium chloride, as described in this, historical text.
Exactly. And our mission really is to pull out the key insights, what this substance was historically linked with according to Boericke. Kind of a shortcut through a dense text.
Fascinating stuff.
So Boericke kicks things off by linking Barya Muriatica to, and I'm quoting here, organic lesions of the aged and dwarfish, both mentally and physically. That term, organic lesions, what's that generally telling us about the focus?
So organic lesions in this kind of context, it usually refers to actual documented structural changes, damage or degeneration in the body's tissues.
Okay, so not just fleeting symptoms.
Exactly. It points towards deeper, often chronic conditions. And Boericke immediately connects it to specific groups, the elderly, those with developmental issues, and this idea of a whole system decline, mind and body.
Right, a holistic view even then.
Pretty much, yeah, for chronic issues.
And then he narrows it down, focusing on the cardiovascular and cerebral systems, things like arteriosclerosis and cerebral affections.
Yes, and hypertension and vascular degeneration are specifically mentioned.
And this detail about the pulse really caught my eye. A high systolic pressure with a comparatively low diastolic tension. What would that suggest, especially back then?
That's basically describing what we now call a wide pulse pressure. It's an older way of observing, blood flow dynamics.
So a sign of stiffening arteries, maybe?
Very likely. It suggests reduced elasticity in the major arteries. It's actually quite remarkable that level of detailed observation about vascular health without modern tools shows a sharp eye.
Definitely. And digging deeper, Boericke gets into some really specific, almost startling physical symptoms. He mentions indurated and narrowing of the cardiac orifice with pain immediately after eating, and even its use in aneurysm. That indurated and narrowing, what might that be describing more simply?
Sure. Indurated means hardened, and narrowing is constriction. So it likely refers to a hardening and tightening, perhaps where the esophagus meets the stomach, or possibly even relating to a heart valve. It shows this really meticulous focus on anatomy and linking structure to symptoms, like that pain after eating, or serious issues like aneurysms, those weakened blood vessel walls.
And then you get these really striking descriptions like icy coldness of body with paralysis.
Yes, but then the paradox. The person is perfectly sensible, even though their voluntary muscular power is gone.
Wow, that's incredibly specific.
It really is, very distinct. And Boericke even connects it to multiple sclerosis of brain and cord.
And it wasn't just physical. The text gets into mental and behavioral aspects too, which is fascinating. It links Barya Muriatica to every form of mania when the sexual desire is increased.
Right, explicitly mentioning nymphomania and satariosis.
Which really shows how broadly these practitioners were thinking about the human condition, including behaviors we, frame very differently today.
Absolutely. I mean, those terms aren't used clinically now, of course, but it highlights that historical effort to categorize and treat behaviors seen as imbalances, linking them back to the physical constitution.
Makes you wonder about the observations that led to these descriptions.
It certainly does.
And that detail carries over to observations of children, too. Boericke describes kids who go around with their mouth open and who talk through the nose, often seeming stupid appearing, hard of hearing.
Very precise imagery, almost like a clinical photograph in words.
Yeah.
And just to round out the key symptoms, Boericke also mentions a gone feeling at epigastrium, like an emptiness in the upper abdomen, as a guiding symptom, especially for chronic conditions. And also a great increase in uric acid. These were like signposts for the practitioner.
It's also interesting how Boericke doesn't just describe it in isolation. He connects it to other remedies, particularly in sclerotic degenerations, that tissue hardening, specifically of the spinal cord, liver, and heart.
Exactly. It shows it wasn't just a standalone list. It was part of a network.
Right.
If several remedies addressed similar sclerotic degenerations, it maybe suggests they were seen as targeting similar underlying processes, or perhaps a certain type of patient constitution prone to these issues.
Yeah.
It's like an early form of differential diagnosis within their own system.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that looking at just one substance like this through Boericke's Materia Medica gives you this unique historical snapshot. It's how observations about the body were recorded, connected,
and interpreted. It's more than just symptoms. It's a reflection of how they tried to make sense of the human body back then.
Yeah. So a final thought maybe for you to ponder. What really stands out about the way these sometimes surprising, intricate symptoms were meticulously documented and linked in these old texts? And what might that tell us about our ongoing quest, really, to understand ourselves? Something to think about until next time.